core of everything that we might have a problem with. I think a lot of us were expecting a more emotional ending, probably, at least on with both characters, not just Kiryu. Would you say Kiryu had the better ending, or Ichiban did?
Ichiban.
Oh, really? Huh. What about you,
Actually,
Snows?
can I change to neither?
You can.
Well, I mean, Kiryu gets to obviously see Haku again.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Is it?
I don't know, it's just there's just like I kind of feel like with Infinite Worlds Kiryu involvement, it's kind of like they just sort of thought, okay, listen, we want to do like a better send off Kiryu, so we'll just be like, hey, Haruka, here you go, you can give him like a hug, and then he dies. Something like that.
I think that, like, I think that they were too scared to kill him off. But I also think that, like, it's kind of the same as the whole Hanuma Morinaga thing at the end of Gaiden, with people not realizing Hanuma is Morinaga. In that, like, I've seen so many takes online that I'm so mad Haruka still and Kiryu still don't get to see each other. What do you think her being in his hospital room meant? Like, what do you think that Haruto saying, "Where's Grandpa"? Like, they've obviously met. I'm like, I can understand being upset that we don't get to see that, because that would have been the emotional fucking tug that would have just made it absolutely amazing. But they absolutely know, like, Haruka knows he's alive. Like, they know.
Well, man,
and like,
she just be on Twitter and be like, "What the fuck? My dad's alive."
Exactly. Yeah, literally. Like, even in Gaiden, they're just like, "Yeah, we all know you're alive. We don't know that bullshit. Like, we don't."
Yeah.
But and like the whole scene of Kiryu at the very end, like people being very like confused about, he's in the chemo room. He's getting treatment. Like, he's absolutely decided at last he wants to live. Like, and like he's obviously like I'm very invested in this because like I lost my grandma to cancer like last September. I've seen how quickly it can like turn someone, and like how like very quickly it can make someone look like Kiryu at the end, where they look a bit of a shell of their former self. But I think this is the way that RG wants to move on, with him being alive but not being a main force. I think he'll be there in the next game as like kind of like Ichi will have a moment where he's really down and depressed, kind of like the whole like Arakawa stuff in LAD, and I think they will have him as a cameo point at that point to just get Ichi back on his feet. No kind of fight, but just that kind of like that mental role of everything that like he's like investing in for the future of the Yakuza, like it'll weigh too much on him, and then Kiryu will just have to like give him that seed. And I think we will get a seed of Kiryu and Haruka at that point.
The ending definitely does have more to it than you would think, because that's also why I didn't immediately form an opinion and I was like, oh fuck this ending, or like, oh I love this ending. Because I've seen people who assumed that Kiryu refused treatment and he's on his way to, death's door, basically.
Die.
Yeah, and they thought that Haruka and Haruto like either met him or they didn't meet him. Like there's a lot of things to kind of talk about with the ending. They don't show you. They try to tell you, but like it might not come across to everybody. And I do love that there's room to debate, personally, because it keeps people talking about that kind of thing. But like the same thing you said, by the way, Frub, about him deciding to take treatment and basically keep living. I saw someone talking about that on Reddit as like a response to the debate of that. I actually don't know what was the response to. Like I think it was basically a response to people hating at the end, right?
Yeah.
Like saying, oh, he didn't just decide to die. He's actually trying to do something after going through the game and meeting all these people and going through all of what he did in this game. Which there is a message to be had there. And by the way, speaking of messages, just to kind of backtrack a little bit. Ebina, I think we don't feel mixed. Goku don't hate him. But like for the most part, I think people are mixed on him, like generally speaking. But when I saw like the post-fight cutscene, I was like, okay, you know what? This is not so bad. Maybe it's just me. But like just the way seeing Kiryu, like instead of like trying to put a tough appearance again, trying to force like a guy to see things his way again. Seeing him just break down and like just beg this guy, like, please, dude, I'm sorry for everything that happened to you, but please try to move on. Something about that just hit different for me. I love that.
I feel like that is the allegory to Kiryu finally getting it. Like what everyone's been telling him for this entire game of like, you know, live. I feel like that's him understanding.
Yeah.
Maybe it's him trying to also, like you said, like prevent Ibina from letting that consume his life and just move on. Like Kiryu is also trying to move on.
Ending up in the Tojo clan car park with Aiza.
Yeah.
Still waiting.
I think, you know, despite the mixed reception of the ending, there is some good in there. There is a message. And I do love that.
There's a lot of good in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do appreciate what they were trying to say with Infinite Wealth.
I really feel the bar scene with all the characters. I feel like there's half good in there and there's half bad. When they start talking about, like, I love Zhao's entire monologue. I love that guy so much. But like, when they start talking about Sawashiro, for instance, Sawashiro is another one of those, like, again, like another one of those just like not really dwelled upon like next plot points. Like kind of like with like Ichiban taking on like the mantle of the Yakuza. Like, is Sawashiro dead? Is he alive? Like, you know,
Not alive.
yeah. I'm like, is he coming back again? Are we gonna do it again? Because we did the thing that RGB really fucking loves to do, excuse my language, of just giving everybody a redemption. It's Hamazaki all over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
you've
I've
got to
heard-
like.
I've heard
I
from
get
someone.
it, and I think that Sawashiro's like arc makes sense because he loved Arakawa. Like one of the many people that fucking did. So like, it's just one of those things where at some point you gotta leave someone to be a villain.
Yeah.
But in this game, at least Sawashiro. Yes.
At the bare minimum, I do appreciate that someone like White was unapologetically, you know, scummy. You also have Bryce. But I do think there's definitely an increase in that. And I did also talk about that from time to time. He should have just stayed the scumbag. Like, I don't know. I think, you know, the Reddit thread that I mentioned earlier was also addressing the AG thing. They said something along the lines of, like, Ichiban saw Ryo Aoki, or not Ryo Aoki. I think they were talking about Ibina, trying to compare Ibina to AG, and like he's trying to prevent him from going that path of just like losing himself. And that's why he did what he did. But I don't know. It's also very
I
convoluted.
still find it. I was gonna say I still find it funny with AG. It's just like Ichiban doesn't really interact with him that much, and then he betrays them, and then it's just like, oh yeah, every single thing wrong that has happened to you so far in this story is because of me. And then Ichiban's just like, no, but I see good in you. And I was like, what, do you? Why?
I think that is probably the worst facet of Ichiban's character, and the one that RGG is pushing the hardest. Of like him being the polar opposite of Kiryu and just being all like, you know, like friends of anyone. I am a shonen protagonist. Like,
Yeah. They're going to Pokemon Bubba all over again.
oh god.
I just remembered something. One reason that I also forgot about that Ichiban did what he did is because the Arakawa family is the one who screwed Angel over. It's a very small
feels
detail.
guilty.
Yeah, it's a very small detail. But that is maybe why he did what he did. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd say they did a better job with Eiji than they did with Ebina, and that's not saying much.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I just say as well, heck, whoever threw that bottle at the end of the whole Ichi taking Emina to the police station.
Oh,
I thought that bit was like, apart from the fact that DMCA'd all of us, I really liked that bit. I thought that bit where like the absolute ass from the men's magazine, like beating up Ichi, I liked that bit. I got that bit, you know. He literally was just taking it all. He was taking the brunt of it, and like he
Didn't
wasn't
perfect guard a
retaliating.
single hit.
Right? And just yeah, like I like that. Also, like I was hoping internally the entire time Ichi would just return the favor and go bon voyage.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Tenacious Fist.
Heck, whoever for that ball.
Oh.
But I do have. There's one character that I feel got very unceremoniously demolished in LAD's Infinite World, and this might be quite controversial. Sayako. I do not like what they did with Sayako in this game.
I did see people talk about her as well. Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. But what would you say is like why would you say she was demolished?
So the whole love plot device became the entire thing for Sayako, and it's something that we have seen in this series for so long, even with Kaoru. Like her entire arc was just Ichi's confession. Absolutely stupid. Like years. It led to a very good chapter 1 up until the 1 year time. The whole Sayako leaving him on read was so unlike her. Like it was kind of disgusting. Like her entire character arc just became a Mary Sue. Like it was terrible. Like even Sayako would not just leave Ichi on read like that for a year. Not with everything they've gone through. Like she indeed was strong, she was independent, and just here she was relegated to that, and her everything was just dealing with that surrounding bit. Even Ichi kept going on about it. Like I remember Yokoyama saying like ages ago, like the love plot won't take up like a lot of this game. Yeah, it did. Like it was always there. It was permeating the entire time. Anytime Sayako was there, it was permeating with her as well. Like, and like the whole bits where like they didn't deal with it in the plot, where it was like holding in the background. It's just like you kind of screwed over the entire time, like unfairly. And that's such a character assassination for Sayako. And it's so unfair as well because a lot of people will use that against Sayako, despite them obviously building up to this really dramatic bit in the ending with Ichi and Sayako, which again fumbled the bag. Like, I get it, Ichi's an absolute idiot, but like, I don't like that. Like, the start of it was great, and then the whole play of the last two shirts, it was just, you just erased it all. In that one moment.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Like it's shonen, literally. It's as shonen as it gets. Speaking as someone who spent an exorbitant amount of time on the medium, you've seen that trillions of times over in every high school romance comedy.
Yep. Like what happens now? Like what happens in the next game with Sayako and Ichi now? Like
he's gonna be left on red for 5 years.
Yeah, right. Like it's frustrating. I'm sorry. I really liked Sayako's character in LAD. I thought we were moving on with like strong, independent female characters that they've been needing to do for a long time, and then they just screwed over Sayako. But on the other side of things, Songy, who
I love how they
her being a Kiryu fanboy despite being a Jingwon member is just amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my god. There's one party chat with her where Kiryu asks, "Oh, do you want to go to karaoke?" And she's like, "Yes, I'm gonna go get professional lessons, and only then will we get to sing."
There was also a thing. I think the first drinking with her actually. Once you finish, Kiryu walks away, and she asks the bartender, "Oh, how did I do? Was I nervous? Did I show any signs of weakness?"
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it was perfect.
And yet within her own story arc, she is still like strong and independent. She is the leader of the Komi Jewel and the leader of the Liu Man.
Bro, have you seen how she stood up to Saijima?
Yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Wait, can we talk about the Jimas fight? We haven't mentioned it.
We've not mentioned them at all.
Let's talk about it, please.
Oh my,
Where do we
wants to
start?
Yeah, exactly.
Best cinematic fight RGG have done in terms of like gameplay. It's also story, but like in terms of gameplay, absolutely.
Yeah,
when
whatever it was.
the QuickTime event on its own was amazing, and then when the world flips,
Oh my god.
Having yeah, go on. Sorry.
Just that, the fact that you finish off each and every one of them in a beat-em-up fashion with their respective boss teams playing with images around. That's... I've been debating on maybe this is the best boss fight that I've seen in gaming. Like, that's how much it impressed me initially. Like, fucking hell. Also, the boss team, Impregnable Triangle. By the way, who named it that way? I was going through the OST before, like, as soon as it dropped, but before I reached that point in the story. And I came to that song and I just jumped in like, what in the name of Igavania is this? This sounds like exactly out of Symphony of the Night or Dawn of Sorrow. Oh my god, the new classical elements. I've been playing it since the start. It's so perfect.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do some like remix of their themes or something.
Yeah.
Which is like a completely unique thing.
Would have been nice, yeah. I'll say though, I fully expected for the fight to be for like a cliche reason once again. Oh, like, Kiryu, let's test like, you know, the power of your newfound allies and see if like they're up to the task of protecting you. But it was way better than anything I imagined. Like, Kiryu just fucking goes there like, hey guys, I need your help. After, you know, everything that happens in the previous games. And then they're like, okay, you gotta be fucking shitting me. And then they just like, you know, they get rightfully upset. And as Kiryu walks away, he does like basically passive-aggressively say, okay, I see coming here was like a mistake. And then that's when they get pissed, yeah.
It's Majima's reaction, like, after the fight as well. He looks genuinely shocked. Like,
Yes.
He genuinely looks sad.
Yeah. It was so good.
That don't you dare leave line, even in the English dub. It was actually even better in the English dub. God damn, that
That was so refreshing to see because, like, you remember how in the ending of Yakuza 6, Saejima and Majima were both probably just holding their emotions. But, like, when they heard about Kiryu's death in the end of 6, they seemed bothered, but, you know, not, like, super emotionally, at least not on the outside. But you could tell they were bothered. But then in this scene, it feels like the culmination of that came out, you know?
Yeah. Like, the ending of 6, they were ready to go to war with the enemy. Like, they were gonna go just because.
I love that,
Kiryu
yes. And also the location of the fight was beautiful. I love that they made it like a whole new set piece.
Yeah, it's a cool area.
The snow, and everything.
Yeah, it's like I'm kind of like, I'm kind of conflicted. Like the second that the game says, you know, Kiryu says, you know, I gotta go talk to them. The game very, very, very vehemently says, this is not gonna end with words. You should be prepared. And I think that's an overreaction to Chapter 12 of LAD, unironically being Chapter 12 here as well. But I also think it goes into that point we were talking about earlier about how you go to Kamurocho, in quotation marks, get ready, and then all of a sudden you deal with the Yakuza 6 sub-story girl and Koyuki. Like, you are ready, and then it just goes, wait a minute. Like, it's so weird. Again, it's that pacing.
You know what's even weirder? Or maybe not weirder, but just funnier? When they show that there was someone watching them, and it's the fucking truck driver of all people.
Right, like,
No
and then
one
he gets,
knows.
yeah, and then he gets woman like quoted on the V2 Sarah thing. And it's just like, okay, sure.
It's so ridiculous.
No. Okay. Wait, that's a completely different tangent. I'll leave that if we ever mention Ebina again, because
No,
we
please
need to
go
talk
ahead.
More about the,
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
go ahead.
you're ready for the ultimate rant on this
Yeah.
freaking boss fight?
Yes, by all means.
Okay, let's start off. There's nothing original about him. The only thing that you can take note of is that he wants to end the Yakuza. We've seen so many people with similar motivations. Doing it again to a lesser extent doesn't mean much. Number 2, he's just an off-brand mix of Aokiryo and Iwami. Even the whole thing of how the story ends, where the value of the fight doesn't come from the fight itself, it comes from the way Kiryu deals with the aftermath. It's not to the benefit of the character, it's to the benefit of Kiryu. He is more of an amalgamation of traits than he is an actual character. There's, oh my god, it's cheap. Let's just put it that way. And the fact that they try to frame him as a threat in gameplay, because it's like every attack that he does is an AoE, he has a healing move. That's such a cheap way to be like, oh, I've been hiding my potential this whole time. I've been holding back. That entire meme is just
So
him.
Aizawa.
Worse. I can't believe I'm actually gonna praise Aizawa. This is worse. Because at least with Aizawa, we've seen him in combat. And yeah, he couldn't go against Kiryu or Saejima, but yeah, barely anyone can. But here you meant to tell me that this twat, whom we've only really seen stab someone from off-screen, can suddenly push off and like Zhao and Songhee and Namba.
I was gonna say.
Psycho just sits there because Yeah, she's a pillow for Kiryu. That's literally it.
Yeah.
And the whole... Oh my god.
Wait, no, wait. This time she was a pillow for Sunhee. Correction.
Oh, my apologies, yes. Oh my god. Like, and okay, this is probably the biggest issue with Ebina for me. Putting aside the whole half-brother, blah, blah, blah. He's emblematic of the biggest issue that the franchise needs to solve after this game. It's the fact that they'll keep running in circles. Because if you remember in 7, when we had the whole dissolution happen, the first thing that happened after the dissolution, the group banded back together into the Tokyo Omi. After that, we go to Lost Judgment. What happened with the remnants of the Yakuza? They formed Arcade. Organized crime isn't going to stop existing if you just remove a structure. Ironically enough, Ebina had the right idea. You need one structured, cohesive whole to keep everyone in check if you want to move away from the Japanese underworld, which they're likely not going to do, because the way it is right now, we're just going to see a repeat of, oh, this is a new Yakuza clan that's rebranded and they have a new moniker and thing, and we'll just do the same thing with no emotional investment into the actual institution. Yeah, I'm terrified of what they'll do after this, because it can get really repetitive if they don't build up a new clan that will be kind of the Omi Alliance for the Ichiban Saga, like the Omi Alliance was for the Kiryu Saga.
What you said is exactly why I think they don't need to do the investment in those new clans or like gangs as much as they do in the characters. Because clans can just come back again and again and again. It's not going to be like super different. But what could be different is the character motivations, the characters themselves, why they do what they do, what happens in the story, who they lose, and you know, so on and so forth. I think Lost Judgment actually did that super well. Like, you had the arcade, and I feel like compared to the Tojo clan, I was gonna say they're not as involved, but they're pretty involved. But I feel like Lost Judgment was on the right track with that one, because, you know, you have a new organization, and they did make a point to bring them up again and again, but I feel like the game focused more on the characters within the narrative itself, like, you know, Yagami, Sawa-sensei, Kawana, you know those characters. But I don't know.
Wait, you want to hear my 500 IQ solution to all of this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's basically what I said. You need to make, like, you need to start building a massive criminal, you can call it a clan or family or whatever, but a antibody for the remainder of the Ichiban saga. And you know who I want at the top of that organization, just hiding in the shadows? Not like I spoiled it at this point in time. Aizawa. Have Aizawa rebuild the entire Yakuza and have that organization be the final antagonist for the Ichiban saga.
I genuinely, like, from Lad Ishin and OG Ishin, Aizawa can genuinely be a great villain, but you just need to build him up. You didn't do that in 5. Just build him up properly, and then you can get a redemption arc for the villain that pretty much everybody hates.
Yeah,
or just find
that's the end of the round.
As far as like the future of these games go, like honestly, I came to terms with the fact that it's gonna be there's gonna be a cycle always, and it's gonna be a similar one, where they're gonna keep like Yokiduni said, they're gonna keep introducing a new faction or like a returning faction. There's gonna be a conflict, and that's that's a Yakuza game. But he did raise a good question as to like, okay, how long are they gonna do this for? And I don't really have the answer, but I did just come to terms with the fact that that's what they're gonna do personally. What about you, and what about Snowiest and Froob?
Unironically, I think this is the strongest position they've been in to take things in a new direction. You'd think it would be after 6 into LAD, but the fact that they've revealed very early on that, you know, Kiryu's gonna be back, etc., it's like that whole hanging on thing that obviously like the Tojo keep doing. This ending doesn't at all go into what Ichi's idea of the future of the Yakuza is that Kiryu's entrusted him. Like, the last thing you see with Ichi is that terrible scene with Sayako. Like, there is no talk about what happens to the Yakuza. The last we see a Daigo, Majima, and Saijima is the top of the Millennium Tap. Like, they can go anywhere
What a shame.
This is like that one point where they can actually say, all right, this is Ichiban. Here we go. So
Yes.
I'm cautiously excited.
What about you, Snowist?
I reckon,
Uh-huh.
because I like personally am not really much of a story guy anyway, because I will take a bad story with good gameplay over bad gameplay with good story.
Mhm.
I
was
reckon
gonna
I don't
ask,
give shit what they
actually.
do with the story. The gameplay is going to be absolutely fire, so I'm going to still keep playing them.
Yeah, fair enough.
Based.
Yeah, because I was thinking, because seeing my videos, I'm obviously a big fan of the Xenoblade series.
ようこそ。
Xenoblade
どの試
1
験を
and
受けま
3
すか？
both have really good
こちらの-
stories and also really good gameplay. Xenoblade 2 and X have really good gameplay, but their stories are just shit.
They're shown in anime.
But exactly, but they're still really fun games, and I feel like there's a lot of people who, and I see this in comments and stuff, they're just like, oh, I didn't like the ending, therefore the entire game is terrible. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, you got to the ending, you obviously liked something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good point.
So basically,
Mhm.
basically like, even if the story is bad, I mean, like with Yakuza 4, even if the story is just like, why'd you do any of this?
Yeah.
The games are still always going to be good. That's what I feel.
That's basically how I feel with something like Yakuza 5 as well. I know you guys probably know what I feel about the game, but like, you know, I have my problems with Yakuza 5, but in spite of everything, there's a lot of fun to be had with the gameplay. And game, like, if you have a game with a shit story but a good gameplay, people will very likely remember that game and come back to it. If you have it the other way around, where like the gameplay is shit, but the story is good, very low chance.
YouTube.
Yeah, you're gonna watch it on YouTube. That's it. I was actually just watching a video on a game today. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but it's called Kudelka on the PS1.
I love that game. The
Kudelka,
lead
yeah.
into the Shadow Hearts series, that actually this game, or like Lad and this game, feels like it takes a lot of inspiration from, with the whole, you know, hitting right buttons in the turn-based at the right time.
Yeah. I love that game, but the gameplay is atrocious, unfortunately. Like, it could have been way, way better. Actually, if that game had better gameplay, it probably would have been, like, a widely recognized game to this day. But, alas, it had questionable gameplay, and it's just obscure. But yeah, that's what I have to say about the whole gameplay versus story debate. Anyone want to add something, or...?
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, I just thought of the Kingdom Hearts series. Everyone just memes on it for its overly convoluted story.
Yeah.
And even though, because like I've played all of them like 7 times, I understand the story, but I also understand that they're insanely stupid. But it doesn't matter. Like Kingdom Hearts 2, even though it's a game from like 2005, it plays like it came out in 2033.
Nice.
It's so much fun.
It's phenomenal. It like the battle system in that game is actually amazing.
It's so much fun. And so, again, it could have the shittest story ever. I'm going to keep playing it.
Yeah.
Understandable.
We talked a lot about, you know, the most controversial aspects of Infinite Wealth.
どの試験を
But,
受
you
け
know,
ますか？
away from all of that. Wait, do you have more to say, Gokidoni?
No, I thought you were gonna rip the DLC band-aid off, but no.
No, not yet.
Yeah, same.
No, not yet, at least. Not yet. I feel like we mostly talked about the things we're mixed on for the most part so far. We talked about things we like, but how about now, actively, we mentioned stuff we liked about the story? Who's gonna start?
I can start.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, because I mentioned this in my most recent video, time of this recording. I just, and it's the same thing with all the Yakuza games, I just really like the characters. And so there's always times where it's like, in a game, you get a character who's just unlikable or something like that, but they're supposed to be likable. But then in the Yakuza games, every character that is likable, you can like. And in Infinite Wealth, I feel like, especially the new characters they introduced, like we were talking about Yamai before, and they are really likable. So that is like the main thing that I just enjoyed about the game, especially all the interactions with like the table talks and the bond conversations and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Kokudoni?
Well, apparently I've been taking the most shit on the game, so I guess I need to really be positive right now.
I mean, if you don't have anything, that's fine.
No, that's the thing. I have. I've been extremely critical about this, but I do love the story. It's just that, you know, the nitpicky video essay guy in me just being like, oh, the slow pacing, you can't do that. Anyway, so we mentioned earlier, the introduction of the Barracuda. Beautiful. Brutal, effective, amazing. Dwight peeing his pants, hilarious. I'm kind of sad that we didn't have a moment where Tomizawa was like, oh, Dwight, is that you? Okay, I'm sending this image right now. And he goes, no, wait, and falls off the ship. I was kind of hoping that would happen.
Yeah.
That would have been cool, yeah.
The casino section with the Ganjo, like, I could replay that so many times. The Arakawa flashback where he goes on a rampage. There's so many perfect moments in this game. Also, Kiryu slicking back his hair. I didn't expect I would be this excited about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jeez.
By the way, speaking of the new look with the actual gray hair with the suit, I love that. That's how he should have looked like in Yakuza 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, I remember we mentioned it earlier, but the whole dynamic between Kiryu and Nishi, it really feels like the entire conversation between them on the top of things. We've already seen portions, but the actual conclusion of like, oh yeah, I love you. Why the hell didn't I say that? It felt like such a nice way of wrapping things up because it was like, okay, these people trust each other. I could play an entire spin-off where Kiryu and Ichi just relax in a random map because their dynamic, and it's been so hard to actually establish, or rather, conceptually it will be hard, but they nailed it. I'm always invested when those two are in the same scene.
Yeah.
Also, the entire exchange with the Jimas. I love that all of the pent-up frustration for years.
It just came out, yeah.
It was just, and it was such a human moment where Kiryu just goes like, you know, F you guys, you're done for. And they genuinely be pissed off, especially coming from Daigo, because Kiryu wasn't a chairman long enough to know how messed up that is. So when you see Daigo like, what the hell do you know about that? Especially with the father and son dynamic between them. Everything just clicked perfectly. Like it's one of my favorite scenes. Like that entire set piece is one of my favorite bits of the entire franchise, bar none. And also the last positive that I can immediately come up with, seeing what the old characters were up to. I love the fact that there's a dynamic and that we actually still hang out with them, and that it feels like when I meet my old friends who are currently in a different city, it's believable. I don't know how to say it. And you're invested because the characters are so cool. So yeah.
What about you, Frup? Things you liked about the story in general?
Yeah, I liked that it was a very personal thing. Kiryu obviously started opening up a lot. I really like what they did with Kiryu in this. I do like a lot of aspects about the ending, even though I've learned about them a lot. Despite the fact that I think the last scene is a little bit too used to, tie up some loose ends. I actually do quite like a lot of the interactions in there. Zhao's monologue about who Ebina was actually very on point. I actually quite like that a hell of a lot. I really like Tomizawa in that scene as well. Just I'm going back to Hawaii. I'm gonna dig my heels in. I'm gonna help out, Lani and Palicana. I owe it to them. I do like how Tomizawa and Chitsue's arcs were in the game. I know a lot of people will use Chitsue as a scapegoat, obviously, for a lot of things happens. But I like her. I do think that the majority of those I kind of expected the whole Bryce the god out a whole bunch. He turned out to be a piece of crap, obviously. A really detestable piece of crap. And AG's part in that arc was also phenomenally good. Shame obviously what happened at the end.
Yeah.
And I think they utilized Hawaii well. I think they actually utilized Hawaii really well. I really like the locale and the whole justification. I liked when we got the initial trailer of Itchy like butt naked on the beach. I had such a fear that it was just going to be LAD again, where he like ends up getting shot or something and ends up like having that entire arc again. Instead, it was just here to say, obviously.
Yeah.
Yamai, the real one, obviously. I think every interaction with the game was phenomenal. Like, really, really great. But I think the character arcs were better than the overall story in this game. I think character arcs in this game were fantastic, like for the most part. Obviously, as I said, Sayako aside, I think a couple of other characters aside, Jungi Han needed more time. But yeah, I liked a lot of the story. The emotional beats hit me when I needed them to hit me.
Yeah, a lot of what you guys already said, I do agree with. I do think the story's strength is the characters more than the actual narrative, if that makes sense. They have a lot of time, like most of the characters at least, have time to shine. Chitose and Tomizawa for new characters, I think are done pretty well. You could maybe make a case for Tomizawa, because like he does have an arc at the beginning, but then he just kind of tags along because he owes it to Ichiban in a way.
Yeah, hilariously, his arc is kind of Yamai, and Yamai is just kind of like,
yeah.
Like, goodbye.
And I do think, even if they weren't super developed, the main villains of this game are pretty cool. I like them at the surface level, at the bare minimum. And I think we all agree that the boss fights in this game are really, really good. Or what do we think? I think they gave them a lot of like love and attention. A lot of the fights have dynamic controls. There's a lot of good time events. Really cool looking just sequences where stuff happens, like the squid and all that. But yeah, like
something we also haven't exactly gone into, but I'm fairly confident we're all going to feel the same way. The music in this game is phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
It goes insanely hard.
Why is there like 20 different battle themes, and why are they all amazing? Like, you even just have these random dudes turn up, and it's like, alright, let's give them some electric dubstep, and just like dubstep, like electro, and just like, have it be the most banger thing ever heard, and you'll never hear it.
I'll keep giving that song a shout out, Barracuda, my beloved.
Not just the Barracuda theme, but also the catwalk fight. Like,
yes.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Thank you for stopping.
That was brilliant.
I did not expect to see two Hangmen again, but here we are.
It's not even Hangman, it's Redman, and it's his new brother Blue Man.
Yeah. So now we have
second theme goes hard.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
yes.
I loved Wonko's theme as well. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, honestly, all of the boss themes.
All of them. I don't think there's a track that I just kind of went meh at.
Wait, Sleeper Hit. A song that's called The Four, when the Jimas join you at the Millennium Tower.
Oh,
that
yes.
song. Oh my god. And one thing you'll mention, or rather notice, if you're into the musical side of it, some of the best tracks in this OSC are in the exact same key.
Yeah,
that's it sounds weird, but like F sharp minor, Barracuda is in that key, Impregnable Triangle is in that key, the 4 is in that key. I think some of the there's at least one karaoke track that's. Hey, wait, we didn't really talk about the karaoke.
We didn't, yeah. We did talk a little bit, but not too much, yeah.
Oh, Bakadaro.
yes.
I love it. I love it. I think it's better than Bakimitai.
Yes.
Seeing the chasm of soul friends appear in the background was just like, don't you dare, and the first thing is just Nishiki. It's like, alright, I'm out. Thanks. You just emotionally wrecked me already. Thanks.
No shout out to Akiyama though.
I love that it ends on Mame as well. It's like, it starts exceptionally serious, and it's just like, Mame!
Yeah.
I love that. Fucking full circle. We started Bakamitai in 5 with Mame, and here.
Yes, and even the Bakimitai of this game also has Mame.
Yeah.
I saw someone do the calculate, like the math. They're supposed to be alive, I guess.
Around 16 to 18 years average, I believe. So still there, but maybe won't be for a few years.
Yeah. Not for the next game.
Seeing
Mind you, the Obitarian.
No.
Yeah,
I am not inviting her to my island. I'm done.
If that is something that I did like that this game does, but I don't want RGT to keep doing, stop doing older cameos like that.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
we haven't mentioned it, sub-story wise, Gondara in this game. Oh, I was not expecting it to go from a sad story to an oh god, Gondara's back to an oh god, this is actually really, really sad.
Yeah.
They played that perfectly.
Yeah. Like, they can do a really good job at introducing new characters, I think.
Judgment.
Yeah. And even like for sub-story characters, I don't know about you guys, but I love Chitose Buster Holmes.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought she was great.
Stuff like that. Like, they can make new sub-story characters, so I do hope they continue to do that instead of bringing Itsuko for like the fucking 20th time. I'm done. Like, I'm good. But yeah, otherwise, I love the side content. I love the story. Even with the shortcomings. Like, I would describe Infinite Wealth so as like an ending segment for everything we talked about. I would describe Infinite Wealth as a game that is flawed, and in spite of that, it manages to be some of the most fun I've had with the franchise. What about you guys?
ゆっくり咲いてる
Yeah,
花
I
も
think
見
it
られる
comes
し
back to how
いいこと多い
introduced
よ
it. Fantastically flawed. I think the gameplay and come back to me in a year after I've been speedrunning it. I think gameplay is phenomenal.
探そう探
I think
そ
it's
う
like really accessible, and I think the little changes here and there elevate. I think they cooked with this, and I think they are on the verge of having something
Aloha.
extremely special. I think the third game could potentially.
Thank
We
you for
assume
stopping.
it's a third game. We know there'll be something. I think if there is another game after this one mainline, like I think that will potentially be something. They could potentially go a little too far with it, like overcomplicate systems and stuff. I actually wanted, like, unironically, the Sujimon battles gave me exactly what I wanted, but the main game didn't. They could have added
Thank
two
you.
new elements. They could have added light and darkness because, you know, that fit with the entire theme and also
true.
like LED subtitle. But they didn't
Yeah.
need it. They
Yeah.
didn't actually need to overcomplicate it. A lot of the moves for like the older like classes are still the same as they were before. You get some cool stuff like landmarks,
Aloha.
in like the hero
Thank you.
class that wasn't there before. It was a really cool new skill. Like they didn't rewrite everything in this game, and yet it just feels so better. Like the story, I genuinely do enjoy. Like despite my like shortcomings of it, like I think it does stumble a lot. I think it could have done with one more chapter, unironically. Like
Yeah.
like despite saying how much like content and bloat there is, I think one more chapter would have done it well. And yeah, for me it's like a 8 or a 9 out of 10. Like I still think it's fantastic.
Gokudoni, how much would you rate
Thank you
the
very
game?
It's my 5th favorite, and that's after a very, very long period of deliberation, and also putting, nostalgia and everything aside. I feel like this is a game that, if it were, let's say, a prequel or whatever, it would have the potential of having Zero's impact. That's how, like, all of the new additions, we kept talking about it, but really, even if you know how the story ends, and you're looking at this game at launch price, like putting my personal biases aside, this is a game that you need to own. I keep coming back to the comment when Yakuza 5 was just dropping, where Yokoyama said, we wanted to make a game to where it's the only game you will need for the system. To me, Infinite Wealth
Thank you
feels
for
that
stopping.
way for the PS5. Like, genuinely, just the new stuff, and not taking into account everything that is returned, like the basically karaoke having all of the songs from 7 and technically Kiwami 2 present. There's so much here to where you can buy it at launch price, you will get your mileage out of this game, even if you were spoiled on everything. Like, it's that good. But yeah, that's it. Love it.
If you were to give it a number out of 10, what would it
I
be?
would think of it this way. I would put it at the top of an S tier, but above my S tier would be another tier.
Uh-huh.
If that gives... I'm bad with numbers. But
No.
that's the
I'm
general
bad
idea.
with numbers as well, but for some reason there are people who care just about the number over everything you say about something. And actually, I think I told you guys, about, or maybe you've heard about it, I don't know, but in my review, I gave the game a 9 out of 10 purely because of New Game Plus. But someone was mad in the comments because, like, okay, if I gave the game a 9 out of 10 for the DLC, but then I also had gripes with the story, then it should be less than that. And it's like, my logic for that is that despite the story problems that I have with it, like, the game is insanely fun. And at the end of the day, you might come back for the story, but if the gameplay is dog shit, you're not gonna enjoy playing the game.
Exactly.
And that's my logic to it. Like, there are story problems, but guess what? Every single Yakuza game has story problems. It's just how it is.
If people want a rating, I'll give it a bon voyage out of 10. There you go.
Nice.
Smart. What about you, Snowist?
I once again referencing my own content. I made note in my most recent video about how it is like another Lost Judgment, where it just makes the previous game look like shit. But like, just like Lost Judgment, it also had a good story, but when it came to like problems and oddities, there was significantly more than the last one. And so like, as we've been talking for however many hours it's been now,
Almost 4.
there are a lot of problems that are in the story, but it doesn't ruin it at all, and it's still just a great game. And like,
Yes.
I still play the Yakuza games for fun, but like at this point, you know, the only reason why I'd ever go back or keep playing, do stuff after I've beaten the game or whatever is just for like recording things and whatever. Like, for example, I barely touch any of the side content in any of the games, especially like, you know, there's a lot that's the same, like Mahjong's in every game. It's not like I'm gonna go play Mahjong in every game. But this game was like, I mean, it's been the first time in ages that I beat the game. I've made videos on it, and then I've just like gone back and kept playing. Like I was playing this weekend just for my own enjoyment. Although I guess like Gaiden was like that because I got the platinum, but that was because I was going for the platinum. This time I'm just playing the game because it's fun.
Are you good with numbers? How much would you give this game?
Probably still like a 9 out of 10 because I mean, as I've said before as well, like I really do like RPGs, and that's why the gameplay is still really fun. But like I know how it can be better, and the fact that it isn't is what sort of dampens it for me. If I'm like you, Gokudoni, where you know I don't touch any RPGs or anything like that, I'd play this and I'd be like, damn, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that when I was a kid, the only RPGs I ever played was Pokemon, and then when I started getting like more RPGs that had like, you know, stories and stuff like that, I realized, oh my god, this genre can be so much better. But even despite that, yeah, Infinite Wealth was just an exceptionally fun game.
Right. I don't want to take too much of your time, especially, by the way, you Snowist, because it's late for you. But there's just one or two things that I'm thinking of just talking about real quick with all of you. Do you guys want to say anything about the DLC?
Like, it is on its own, it's $31 here. There's a lot of games you can get for less.
I saw that bit in your video.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not gonna, you know, extend this more than I have to. I talked about this in my review. I made 2 videos on it. I talked about it on my streams. Most of you know what my thoughts on this are. But New Game Plus is the basic feature. It should be in the game. That's the end of the day. That's what it is at the end of the day. Difficulties, same thing. The big swell is debatable. I do think it should have been base game, but if we got New Game Plus and difficulties, but that was DLC, I would not complain as much. That's my thoughts. Does anyone want to add anything?
I'd agree with that. It feels like they kind of wanted to go for like a Kaito Files-esque, you know, value to post-game, but it feels like they just took something from it and just charged for it. I think that's the thing as well, is that something that is a standard in every other game is now suddenly taken out and monetized.
Yeah. Does anyone want to add something before I just ask the last thing?
Oh yeah, I could. Specifically for the DLC. I feel like if we can... Sorry about that. If New Game Plus and the difficulty settings were part of the base game, the DLC wouldn't be controversial. because it's literally the same thing that we've had for, I think, since Yakuza 6 at this point. You have bonuses for the minigames, you have cool costumes. Hell, you can see Sonki in a swimsuit. I would be shilling the hell out of that if it didn't include New Game Plus. But the biggest issue with that, and I want to address this because there was a bunch of people like, oh, who plays New Game Plus? You don't realize how much, you don't know how much of a jump New Game Plus in this series is. Compare a game like Ishin or Lost Paradise on a clean save file to New Game Plus.
No.
The difference is like they're basically two different games at that point. I wouldn't blame anyone for hating those games if they don't try New Game Plus. So you have it in a game like this, and we've talked about, yeah, it's strained, it takes a long time to get going, and there's a bunch of times where you need to grind. New Game Plus alleviates that, and this is the Dragon Engine, so any additional cutscenes, you can just skip over them and you can enjoy the boss fights. So like, literally, to me, as a longtime fan of the series, I think the package is worth it, but I won't endorse it because it has New Game Plus as a feature. Return it into the base game and keep doing what you're doing. Like, even the big swell, I think it's worth the money because I love the characters so much. Anything else, yeah, it's basically what you will say.
Just a little thing that
they should do. Oh, sorry.
Go on.
Okay, I was gonna say, you know what they should do? They should, and this shouldn't be a paid figure, but they should just add a freaking chapter select into the goddamn game.
Yes, please.
Like Final Fantasy VII Remake has.
Yeah.
It's ironic
that.
that Dead Souls has the best feature of that.
RGG, if you're watching this, like, please. That feature in Dead Souls where you select any story segment and you just play it and you get ranked on it. Like, why is that locked to Dead Souls of all games? Bring it back. We love it. We love it. We want to see stuff like that.
Yeah. I can imagine they kicked that one guy out. Like, there was someone in the meeting that said, oh no, that's gonna be a great idea. And then someone said, great, now people don't replay our games anymore. Get him out of here.
Yeah, I sincerely hope we do see that at some point. I sometimes get people, like, comments, Twitter, whatever. They tell me, hey, Leon, if you're against New Game Plus, why are you playing it? Well, first of all, I got a code. Second of all, let's assume that I put a campaign where I try to get a following of people to boycott the game. I'm gonna make a dent at best in like all of the sales. The game sold 1 million copies at this point. What is 10,000 gonna do? It's just about accepting. Like, it's very important to accept how things are instead of trying to go on this fantasy of like, oh, like we surely can sway like 2 million sales off of this game, because that's not happening. So yeah, the least I can do after that, after you know, acknowledging that, is just talk about it and try to criticize the decision, and hopefully something will happen. If not with Infinite Wealth, then hopefully with the next game. And that's really all there is to it. All right, we can briefly talk about anything you guys would have added or changed with the game just before we say skill shortcuts. Yeah.
Shortcuts.
I would say skill shortcuts as well. Yeah. We can talk about the story, but like if we talk about the story, we're gonna be sitting here for like 3 more hours. But gameplay-wise, yeah, just skill shortcuts. I think. What else? I can't really think of much.
Stop nerfing everything I do in the speedrun. Thanks.
Shortcuts and giving back head trauma.
Yes, head trauma. Yes. I would love that, yes.
Oh my god. Do we remember that?
Have it cost 1 MP.
Wait, oh my god, wait. To dial back, do you remember that part where it said no head trauma here?
Yes.
Whoever wrote that,
they knew.
Yeah.
They knew.
I'm totally not angry at you. Looks intently into the camera.
Person who did that, we actually love you. Don't worry about them.
Wait, one more thing. If maybe this exists in the game, but if someone could add an item that gives you infinite Dragon's Resurgence, can you imagine a New Game Plus where you can just destroy everything with that?
I was hoping for something like that too. Yeah.
Speaking of, I might be wrong in this. I might not know where it is. Why is there no Hariti's amulet in this game?
Someone told me apparently it's not in the game.
I was wondering about that too.
What was that, sorry, Snowiest?
apparently it's just not in the game at all. That's what someone said to me.
That's wild. Like, just, again, that's a nice thing for New Game Plus, is like something to get rid of all of the fight skills.
Or even just try and do like the Bond conversations, just like you don't have to deal with enemies.
Oh yeah.
Having to walk away from a group of enemies every time when they get close. I've like stepped inside of shops. I've been hiding around the back of pillars and stuff. Just like, please move on. Please go away.
At least they got the Smackdown thing.
The Smackdown feature is nice for sure, but I still would have liked the Harity amulet. Just for replays.
Exactly.
It's also very nice that your bonding conversations carry on when you come out of a fight. That's a very good change.
Yeah, like some God of War stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can also reminisce on them. I can't thank the people enough for that, because now if you're close to an enemy encounter, you can just skip through the conversation, go back to your hideout and listen to it.
Yeah, that's an option. I can't think of anything else personally. The skill shortcuts are like the main thing for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, really?
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Make rocket launchers 2,000 damage. Please bring back Eric and Dealer and Enforcer.
Yes.
I would not have minded it at all. Like if you find Eri somewhere for the sub story and she's back again.
I do like that you get a little bit of like acknowledgement if you go there and chapel.
Yeah.
Like she's off touring the world. Putting code for Hawaii. Send it to Dondoko Island of all of them.
I think that's really all we have to do. Does anyone have anything to add?
I like this game. Thank you.
Yeah, this game is awesome. You guys are awesome for showing up. Wait, say that again?
But not the DLC.
Yeah, but not the DLC.
Yeah. Exactly.
We love the game.
I bought a physical copy, but I didn't buy the DLC.
Yes. Yeah, this game is awesome, despite the shortcomings. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. This has been a blast. We sat for 4 hours now. It's 4 hours exactly on my OBS timer. I can't thank you. I seriously can't thank you all enough, because like, you know, setting this up with different time zones and all of that, like it's not the easiest thing, but we managed to find the time window, thankfully, on short notice too. So yeah, do you guys have anything to say about anything to the audience watching this before you go?
Subscribe to Devil Leon 7.
And subscribe to the boys. I'm gonna leave everything in the description. Everything. Gokudoni makes amazing essay videos. Frub.
Yo. Na.
おかしいな。
どうしたんだい？
いや、インターネットが消滅したっぽくてよ。
この世の終わりか？
俺のスマホからどうにも繋がらなくなっちまってよ。さっきまで使えてたんだが。
たまに電波がやたらと悪いところあるよな。
急に繋がらなくなると世界から見放された気分になるぜ。
大丈夫だよ。俺らがいるだろう。そんな時こそ仲間。
ああ、復活した。よかったよかった。
あ？今一番がなんかいいこと言いかけてたみたいだが。
え？悪い、聞いてなかった。もう一回頼む。
うるせえ。
いい仲間だね。
Aloha. Thanks very much. なあ。おはい。へえ、ここでやるのか。で、最高のアクティビティってのは一体？
お客様だけの素敵なアクティビティ、それはわたし。
は？
あら、聞こえなかったかしら。ならもう一回。おほん。ふふふ。お客様だけの素敵なアクティビティ、それはわたし。
どういうこと？
もう鈍感な男ですね。わたしと楽しくラブアクティビティしましょうって言ってるんです。第一印象は不器用なヤバい客だと思っていたのですが、アクティビティを楽しむあなたの姿勢や無邪気な少年のような笑顔に徐々に惹かれていきました。もうこの思いは止められないのです。恋はノンストップと言うでしょう。
気持ちは嬉しいけどよ、俺にはその心に決めた人がいるし。
オーマイガー、そうなんですか。
はあ、そうなんだよ。
仕方ないですね。まあ OK です。ワンナイトアクティビティ、遊びでもいいですよ。アクティビティだけにね。
人の話聞いてたのかよ。やっぱダメだよ。さよならだ。ちょっと。
ヘイアロハッピーちゃん。
アロハッピーちゃん邪魔だよ。アロハッピー。
ハワイならではの最高の体験をお客様に届けるのが私どもアロハッピーツアーズの使命。今までで一番思い出に残る最高のおもてなしをしちゃいます。さあお客様もご一緒にレッツアロハッピー。
アロハッピー。アラホロヒレハレ、これはなんとも。
なかなか素晴らしいアクティビティになりましたね。これでハワイも本当の意味で満喫できたことでしょう。じゃあこれからもアロハッピーツアーズをよろしくお願いいたしますね。それではまた See you next アロハッピー。
See you next アロハッピー。ハワイのアクティビティは奥が深いぜ。 ジュリちゃん、随分といろいろできるようになったな。
おかげさまでね。学びたいものは全部学べたし、必要なものも揃えることができたよ。もう投資してもらわなくても当面十分やっていけると思う。
そうか。じゃあ投資終了だな。
本当にありがとう。腕には自信があったんだけど、理論とか知識が中途半端っていうのは自分でも結構コンプレックスだったんだ。かといって学校に通う暇も余裕も金もないし、通えても周りとうまくやれる自信もなかったから、本当に助かったよ。
そりゃよかった。コンプレックス一つ解消だな。
マジでおじさんのおかげだよ。本当、どうやってお礼をしたらいいか。
気にするなって言ってるだろう。こっちはこっちで助かってるんだし。それに俺も嬉しいんだ。
嬉しい？
なあ、ジュリちゃんみたいな若くて才能のある子のサポートができたことがさ。実力や才能があってもいろんな事情で学べない子や夢を諦めなきゃいけない子って山ほどいるだろう。しょうがないことかもしれないけどさ、この年になると才能や夢が開花せずに消えていくのってすげえ歯がゆく思えてくるんだ。でも今回のジュリちゃんのサポートで一つの才能を伸ばす役に立てたんだとしたら、こんな俺でも何か生きてる意味があるんじゃないかって、お金以上に意味があることができたんじゃないかって、そんな気がするんだ。これが親心みたいなやつなのかな。まあ親になんかなったこともないなれそうもないおっさんが言っても説得力ねえけどよ。
おじさん。
ジュリちゃん、
本当にありがとう。お礼なんていいって本心からそう思ってくれてるのもよくわかってる。でもそれじゃあ私の気が収まらないよ。私人に借りを作りたくない性格なんだ。だから私なりのやり方で借りを返させて。
ジュリちゃんなりのやり方で。
私おじさんに喜んでほしくて、どうしたら喜ばせられるかなってたくさん本を読んで勉強したんだ。今日はそれをしてあげたいなって思って。
どんな本をお読まれになったのでしょう。
私もこういうのを初めてやるからうまくいかないかもしれないけど、喜んでもらえるように一生懸命やるからさ。
そんな初めて俺でなんてそんなダメだよ。
お願い、おじさんにだけはしてあげたいからさ。初めてはおじさんがいいんだ。
ジュリちゃ
んねえ、そこに横になって服を脱いで。
やっぱダメだよこんなの。しかもこんなところで。
いいの、そこが一番私がうまく動けるから。
動くってそんな生々しい。
じゃあ始めよっか。
ジュリちゃん、やっぱそんなダメだって。ってあれなんじゃ。
私おじさんがどうしたら喜ぶか研究に研究を重ねたんだ。その結果こういう感じがいいんじゃないかと思って。
何どういうこと？錬成用の道具なんかお持ちになって。
おじさんは強くなりたい人だから、だから私が最強にしてあげる。それが一番おじさんが喜ぶはずだから。
はあ？何それ？
大丈夫大丈夫、優しくしてあげるから。
錬成！
うまくいったかな。初めてにしては上出来かもね。
腹ほろひれはれ。
これで少しは恩を返せたかな。でもまだ全部は返せてない気がしているんだ。だからまた実験台にまたおじさんを喜ばせてあげるからね。さて次はどういうテクニックでいこうかな。
もう結構です。
まあまあそう言わずに、これからもよろしくおじさん。
錬成するのもほどほどに。
だから危険な女だって言ったのに、やれやれ。
おじさんご要望を。じゃあね。おじさんご要望。じゃあね。